It was a wild week of Big Brother on Ava's HOH. 3 big targets went on the block in Keanu, Vince, and Zach. And we had Zach not using his power. We had Keanu talking about throwing the BB Blockbuster to Vince, which would have gotten him evicted. But in the end, Keanu was able to methodically, slowly, and none of us thought he would do it, win the BB Blockbuster, guarantee his safety, in an 8-2 vote where Rachel and Will are the only people who voted to evict Vince. Zach is our newest evictee of the house. Somebody who I thought was pretty highly ranked. I thought with this power he'd take himself off the block and likely try to avoid an area where he might be going home anytime soon. But unfortunately for Zach, he didn't use his power like an idiot. He went home on a vote, and he was nowhere close to that blockbuster. If Vince beat Keanu, then Zach would have stayed, and that would have changed a lot of the parts of this game. But Zach is out, and the game has shifted because not only did Keanu win that blockbuster, Rachel Riley won the HOH competition, which seemed to be more of a memory of different rooms, and you have to figure out what room meets the prompt that's being given. So Rachel Riley is our new HOH, and that can change things in a lot of ways. During the end of last week, we'll go through on certain individuals that I think played a pretty good game in terms of getting people where they want and having control of the house. But I think Rachel's going to take a big shot this week at a certain individual who, if they survive this week, they still may be looking pretty, but definitely will be taking out some of their legs, as Ava said to Rachel later tonight. But without further ado, let's go over our Big Brother game, top to bottom, these power rankings, the final 12 house guests. First up for me, Morgan. Oh, this hurts to say because Morgan did a great job getting everybody to keep Zach and Vinny if Keanu loses last week. Really good job getting Mickey on her side. But Rachel got into a fight with her last week, and Rachel's the new HOH. And unless Morgan pulls out a comp win that she has not been able to do this whole entire season, she was second in this latest HOH comp, she could be going home because your Rileys, your Cats, Keanu's, they're going to be happy to vote out Morgan in a Mickey and Morgan, block per se, as well as the Ashleys and the Wills and the Avas. So if Morgan's on that block, there's a good chance she's going home because she does not really have the votes to stay just about against anyone at this current moment. She hasn't shown herself the ability to win an actual comp. Maybe this week that'll change, but right now Morgan's my lowest rated house guest at number 12 because I think she is potentially most likely to be evicted. Number 11 is Lauren. Lauren, Lauren is just not perceived well in the house. She didn't do anything for Zach. Her HOH reign is even more disastrous if you look back over time, and the fact that the bond would have been solidified, would have had this great alliance. Maybe they would have taken a shot at the bond this week with Zach, Vince, and maybe a Lauren nom, maybe something else. But the bond lost control of this game. And unfortunately, that means that Lauren's game is still pretty much dead. She's shown really no proactivity. She's shown no real good game sense. She's just kind of out there doing nothing. I think there's a good chance she's a nom this week. And again, if she's against a Mickey, if she's against a Morgan, maybe people will just pick out Lauren because what's the point of keeping Lauren around if she's not going to do anything? That might change more this week. Maybe she'll be more active. But so far, Lauren's been a pretty inactive game player. And at this point, you got to rank her low. Because, what else is she doing here? She's not doing anything. Number 10 is the delusional King Keanu. With Rachel as HOH, he definitely feels like he's safe this week. He's getting better and better socially in the game. He's taking Rachel's advice a bit. I think as Rachel takes big shots, Keanu might have himself be less of a target against Rachel. And, he is ever on the block with a Rachel later on. So he has a way, I think, to stay in this game longer. He won the blockbuster. He is still the veto king of the house. We'll see how the rest of this week goes. He's working very closely with Vince, and since Vince has lost his number one person in Zach, Vince might go more over to Morgan, but I think Vince is going to be very happy to be friendly with Keanu and try to use Keanu as an ally throughout the rest of this game. Now that Zach is gone overall. Number 9 is Rachel. Rachel's our HOH, but she was terrible, and I mean absolutely terrible the last couple weeks. Whether it is spending all social capital on trying to keep Jimmy when everybody in the house knows Jimmy is gone, to getting into a spat with Morgan, which turned, Mickey off of Rachel, which then turned, Riley and Kat off of Rachel. Obviously, Lauren's not a fan of Rachel at the moment. Neither is, Vinny per se. Now, Vince might break a truce with her because he will do whatever it takes to feel safe in the house. But she's HOH this week, and she's not going to be able to be HOH next week. And if a Keanu doesn't win, an Ava doesn't win, Ashley doesn't win, then Rachel very likely is going home next week. She still didn't do anything, to fight against the obvious Vince's staying vote this week, even voting against Vince. If people just decide Rachel was that vote, then hey, her stock tanks even more with people like Vince and anybody else. Even with Keanu, he didn't throw the blockbuster, but Vince was staying. There was no reason to be trying to say you're voting to evict Vince no matter what. He's gonna be staying. Be sure, Keanu, I'll keep the idea open. We'll see. Just win the blockbuster. Vince will have the votes to be safe. We'll all be happy. And she just kept fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And Keanu's delulu and stupid himself. But, Rachel is just not in a good spot at all. Even Ashley was distancing herself from Rachel at the end of last week. Now, everybody's being friends with her as HOH, but next week, the wrong person wins HOH. Rachel's going on the block. Rachel's going to go home. So that's why she's number 9 for me. And she did have a really bad gameplay, I feel, the last couple weeks. She didn't want Keanu up on Ava's HOH. She didn't get it done. She had all the tools to have good conversations and longer conversations to get Kat and Ava to take the veto on Keanu and get Morgan up. She didn't push at all for anything. So this week, she needs to hit her shot. She needs to do well. And she needs to get people on her side ASAP. Number 8, surprise, surprise, keeps moving up, is Kelly. This house has forgotten her as a target. Rachel's a big target. Keanu's a big target. Mickey's a target for Rachel. Morgan's a big target. Vince is a big target. And that has allowed Kelly to basically kind of be scot-free of the block and everything else. She might work with Rachel and Keanu. She might work with Vinny. She's just kind of playing an overall rat game at the moment. And I don't know if that's one that's going to give her a big winning chance, but she's going to probably be in jury, and she's probably going to make it down to the maybe final 7 or 6, in my opinion, because everybody else has their eyes on other bigger targets that aren't going away anytime soon. That would make Kelly be a at-risk candidate. I see her going decently far, but I don't think she has any game-winning stock. That's why I have her at number 8. But yeah, she survived what she needed to survive. So kudos to Kelly for that, and it'll be fun to see where her rat game takes her the rest of the way. Number 7 is Kat. Kat definitely is improving. This is a big week for her to try to survive, both her and a couple people who might want to work with her and keep her around down the road. And if her and Mickey are able to survive this week and Riley are able to survive this week, then I think Kat's stock moves up. But Kat could be on the radar of Rachel. Kat is somebody who nobody really talks game with. Nobody treats her as an individual besides, say, Lauren and Mickey per se. And that's why she's kind of down low. I don't see any final 2 scenario where she's going to win the final 2. Unless there's a super bitter jury. Or Riley just says it, but I think people like Riley more, and I think Riley's in a good position that, if it's him and Kat in the end, I think Riley's going to win this game. She needs more people to treat her as an individual, and less people to treat her as an add-on of Riley. That's Kat's biggest issue at the moment. Number 6 is Mickey. This is the worst result of HOH for Mickey possible, because Rachel is going to target her, it sounds like. Rachel wants to make sure the shot doesn't miss. But if it does miss, Mickey is set up very well in this house. She has Will and Ava being full-on minions. We saw Ava last night with Rachel, basically saying, like, Mickey's all good with you, and we know Mickey's been shit-talking Rachel to Ava all last week. Now, Ava might have forgot that, but I think Ava's very much protecting, Mickey on the forefront. Mickey also has Riley and Catherine because nobody else talks game with Catherine, and Catherine likes the fact that Mickey treats her as an individual, which Catherine being happy means Riley's going to be happy. Even if they don't agree fully with Mickey's game philosophy, they feel like, hey, she's worth taking down to the final three if we can. And that's perfect for her. Those are two great allies. She obviously has Morgan and Vince now without a Zach. So again, there's more people rooted with her. And even Ashley has kind of like, she'll be like, oh yeah, no, I'm not going to play the Dictator's game. But she very much will be playing the Dictator's game unless Mickey is finally taken out with a shot. Lauren isn't fully under her control, but her allies are all Mickey minions, so it kind of makes Lauren like a pseudo-minion. Kelly, Keanu, and Rachel are really the only three people Mickey doesn't have control of at the moment. And if she was on the block against Vince, it would be very interesting to see who stays and who goes. She's at risk of going home this week, but if Mickey's able to stay this week and keep all of these minions kind of in her control and anti-Rachel, then Mickey's in a very good spot the rest of this game. A lot of people don't like Mickey because she's dominant, she's made some very rude, outlandish, mean comments, but the truth of the matter is she's playing this game like a mobster, and people are reacting to it. She has her top alliance of Zach and Vince, Morgan, and herself, the melting pot before Zach left. She's the top three in Will and Ava's alliance there. So there's another pocket. Then she's the top three in Riley and Kat. So she has all of these pieces valuing her because she's putting the time in and is making them seem heard and talked about more. Unlike everybody else in the house, nobody is mixing together. Mickey's just doing a good job being everywhere. And even if she gets caught a little bit, nobody else is working on Riley and Kat in a way that, they wouldn't want to work with Mickey. Nobody else is really, besides, say, Rachel and Ashley are working with Ava and Will, but Ashley's social capital with Ava is, none. So there's no hope there for Ashley. She's close with Will, but she does not have Ava at all. And Rachel is an easy target for the rest of the house. So if Rachel goes next week, Mickey is just primed to be in a very good spot, unless a Keanu and Kelly win HOH comps and can get her out eventually. But she is so shielded by everybody on every side. She just needs to go up against maybe a Vince or somebody else to go home, who also is shielded up on every side. In a not as aggressive dictatorship way, but she's ruling the game like a mob boss, and there needs to be more respect on Mickey's game from a lot of people out there. They just like to trash it and say she's going to go soon, and maybe she will, but if she survives this week, that mob boss is in a prime position to make a deep run. Number 5 is Will. Will's not going up on Rachel's HOH. Will is in good with Mickey. Will is in good with Rachel. Will's not a target of, say, Catherine or Riley. Will's not a target of Vince and Morgan. He's just Will. The only people who might put Will up is just Keanu. Keanu might. I don't think he will. But it's just Lauren per se, and I think Lauren can be distracted from it being a Will nomination. I think Vinny could nominate Will as well if he's trying to go after Rachel. But yeah, he's safe. He's going to make it far in this game. He's probably locked. I'd pencil him in for top 5. If he's able to start pulling some of these mental comps down and is able to be competitive a little bit more physically in vetoes, maybe Will has a chance to pop up at the end, win, and be a likable person socially to get to the final 2 seats and win. We have to see more of him from a competitive game point, but he's sitting kind of pretty in the middle overall. He has kind of an aspect of the game per se, but he's still way too loyal to Mickey than he should be, given that her hands is in every pot that he knows about. But that's kind of where Will's at number 5. For Ashley. Ashley keeps moving on up. Rachel winning this HOH is perfect for her. It allows her eventually, like Mickey, to lose a number, and that might help bring Ashley closer to Mickey. Mickey might need her more. She is kind of a Mickey minion in a way, but she sees Mickey and what's going on, and she's not going to be able to take a shot at Mickey later in the game. She has put OK working with Morgan. Her biggest issue right now, I think, is Ava not vouching for her, and Keanu not vouching for her as much. Now, if Rachel can get Keanu on like the Ashley side, and like you can get Kelly on the Ashley side, then Ashley's game rises up a lot better. She is fixing her social ability a little bit week by week. She's learning to lie in the house instead of just blabbing out the truth, which is getting her a lot of trouble. And I can see a world where Ashley, is able to make it to the end and win this game here soon. It'll be questionable if it's against like an Ava or a Will, can she win? But maybe she gets in there with like a Kelly. Maybe she gets in there with like, I don't think Keanu makes it to the end. Maybe her and Ava go up there and like people will respect Ashley a little bit more than Ava. It's a long way to go, but I see a world where Ashley could make the end here now. Enough kind of targets are on the all different sides, and she's working herself better socially than she has in previous weeks. And unlike Rachel, she isn't fighting against votes whenever they're not going to be in the favor that she wants it. Like, she gets on the memo, she keeps the social capital, she doesn't burn it for something that's not going to happen. Number 3 is Riley. Oh boy, guys. If Riley survives this HOH, we could be looking very easily at like an easy way for Riley to win this game. Keanu's his boy, Vince is his boy. Keanu and Vince are kind of loosely bigger targets. I had Riley number 1 before the night kind of got going once I heard Rachel's HOH, but Rachel is kind of on the Riley. Ashley's on the Riley. Enough people are kind of on to Riley and Kat that it might be tough for Riley to stick around full stop. So he's not as perfectly camouflaged as I thought he might be. But again, if Rachel ends up going down the road, he's going to be there with like the Mickeys and the Keanus and the Kats and Vinces, maybe working together and just staying safe and just working really, really well that type of a way. And the house loves him a little bit, though again Ashley's wearing off on that, and so did Rachel. But until the rest of the house wears off on Riley, he could be really safe in any vote, and he could just be the person that Mickey takes too long and he comps out to the end. And that's why I have him at number 3. Number 2 is Ava. Ava's HOH was better than I thought, not because the Zach was kind of the perfect person to go out, as he was the one who was most upset with Ava. But also, she let Mickey take kind of the brunt of any type of social capital use on the vote, and she told us that she did that, on purpose to Will last night. So she knew what she was doing more than I thought she was. Maybe she'll be more active now. She can't be sleeping like she has been. She needs to be more active, more proactive, being able to build up more of an alliance besides Will and Mickey and Rachel. She needs to find a way to try to maybe bring in Kelly. She needs to try to find a way to maybe work well with Riley and Kat more and build up that Kat relationship she had when Kat won the veto, to get a good structure around her and to get the enough social capital to win a jury vote if she's taken the final 2 by, say, a Morgan or a Mickey or a Will or an Ashley. If she could build up those social capital more and be more of a game, be respected more in that type of a way. And I think her HOH made her respected as a game person, but if she can be more respectable in terms of being active in the game, Ava's still in a good chance to win this game. And I don't see her being targeted anytime soon because Rachel just became a gigantic shield. Keanu staying in the house is a gigantic shield. Vince staying in the house, gigantic shield. So Ava's in a prime spot. But number 1 for me is Vince. Vince got the house to basically unanimously keep him against Zach. Vince has Keanu on his side. Vince might not be going up on Rachel's HOH. Vince has Morgan, Vince has Mickey, Vince has Riley, Vince has Kat, Vince has Lauren. Like Ashley said to, and like Ashley and Rachel said, and then even like later Rachel and Ava said of like, what does he do? How does he have everybody here? And the answer is he just matches their energy. He makes people feel like his number one. Will might not be buying into it. Ashley and Ava and Rachel might not be buying into it full. But Ashley doesn't think, there's any, power or movement. In some ways that's true about behind Vince. But he has the social capital. Rachel even realizes, like, what's the point of putting Vince on the block this week? Because, like, he's just going to stay. He's just going to stay right now. So, like, if you want Vince out, you're going to have to take out some of his legs. You have to take out the Morgans, the Mickeys, the Rileys, the Kats, the Laurens. You need to make it to the point to where you have enough votes to get him out. Because clearly, last week, even against Zach, it wasn't even close. Lauren was keeping Vince. Morgan kept Vince. Mickey kept Vince. Keanu's keeping Vince. Kat and Riley are keeping Vince. There's too many people keeping Vince to actually get him out anytime soon, and it just means he's going to stay longer and longer in this game, and he's not as bad as comps as people think he is. He's going to have chances to win POVs. He's going to have chances to make final two deals and make it far with people and just be likable. Even Kelly, who might not be on Vince's side fully, doesn't trust him fully, still trusts him. Still tells him stuff. It still wants Vince to stay in some circumstances. Vince just is so well insulated in his energy of just matching people. He survived the block when he was a target. He survived the block when he was the obvious target, to the point where Ava was like, yeah, no, I'm okay with Vince staying. I'm happy with Zach leaving. Like, it is insane how good of a spot Vince is in at the current moment, and it's just because his one-on-one skills, his personal skills at the beginning of the game just laid an amazing foundation, that first HOH foundation that is just making him incredibly impossible to get out. Because even if he's up there against Morgan and Riley, Morgan and Mickey this week, and say it's like him versus Morgan, he's going to have Keanu, he's going to have Kelly, he's going to have Kat, he's going to have Riley, he's going to have Lauren. He has the votes to stay. If it's him versus Lauren, he's going to have Mickey, he's going to have Morgan, he's going to have Keanu, probably going to have Kat and Riley. 5 votes again. He's going to stay. Like, he just does not really have a way not to stay. He just does. And unless you keep people who, like, unless Ava, Rachel, Ashley, and Will can keep winning and taking out his numbers, he's just going to keep being safe against anybody in the vote, pretty much. It's impressive. He has a great social game. He has a great ability to match people one-on-one, and just, some people see through the bullshit, but a lot of people in this house are unable to see through the bullshit. They didn't see through it last week. I don't know if they're going to see through it anymore, and that's why Vince, to me, is back being my number one player in the game right now. I think 8-2, and it was a Rachel being petty, and it was basically a house unanimous vote to keep him. He's just that insulated at the moment, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. But tell me your thoughts on the Big Brother power rankings. Who's your top? Who's your bottom? Who do you think Rachel's going to nominate? Like and subscribe to the channel for all the updates this weekend, and I look forward to seeing you guys around all this Big Brother season. We're almost halfway, days-wise. A lot more contestants need to go out, and I'm excited to see OTEV this week. What's OTEV going to be like? Can they answer more than one question? Can we finally get proof that this cast is smarter than the dumb cast of BB26? We'll find out this weekend. We'll find out on Wednesday. Thank you for sitting down and talking with me. I'll see you around.